Dear Maestro, can you explain, please, something about enlightenment? You know, all the typical questions that people send to you or you ask you at workshops?
Yes, there are several questions about enlightenment. And of course, looks like a joke to talk about enlightenment on YouTube, to talk about enlightenment. But it's not a joke at all. Because we can do more than talk about enlightenment. We can do something less and something more. Something less that is simply saying what is not enlightenment. What is the superstition of people, the strange ideas, the Superman projection about this word. And then we can even have, let's call it the moment of the poet, in which we can have a glimpse, a real glimpse about what we can do to realize enlightenment. Now, first of all, people think that, well, one day or the other you will become enlightened. This is not true. Nobody can become enlightened, because enlightenment happens only now. Because now is all the eternity. Now is life, is real life. And in this case, real doesn't mean Monday morning life. It means the life that you are really living in this moment. So nobody will be enlightened or will be a Buddha in the future. The only enlightenment that you can have is now. And because of this, you can't conquer enlightenment, but you have to realize it. That means that you have to renounce, to recognize a living state that is already living in you, living in your experience. Making an instance is like if we pretend to conquer something like a psychological perfection. And so with this kind of superstition, we would like to give up at all our, let's call it, imperfections, never understanding the richness, the flavor, the wonderful perfume, the color of it, the color of our humanity. So some people think that the enlightened being, the enlightened man, should be, for example, somebody really dry, somebody without a behavior, a character. And for this reason, somebody thinks that the enlightened man should be like a very kind guy, doing nothing to anybody, quite not existing. Other people think that could be something like a samurai, something like absolutely cruel, absolutely beyond all the need of the people. Other people think that enlightened being should be like an hypnotist, somebody with such a power that conquer you, that hypnotize you, or liberate you in this very moment. And so there are a lot of superstition. People think that an enlightened being should be like a priest. Other people think, at the contrary, that should be a revolutionary. Other people think that could be a savior. Other people think there's a lot of strange idea about it. But because you have made this question, I have to tell you that the enlightened being will have your face, will have your hands. That is amazing, because it's a maze, it's a labyrinth in which you are. If you don't step in yourself, if you don't live your life fully, in full immersion, which means that you can have at least the glimpse of the eternity now. In this very moment, you have the glimpse of enlightenment. Other things that comes from your mind are only rubbish, because enlightenment doesn't come from your mind, doesn't come from your instinct, doesn't come from your creativity, doesn't come from nothing that you can imagine. Enlightenment is already active now in your life. The only possibility that you can have to overcome the merely instant, I mean the glimpse of it, to have an enlightened life, is to give your life for enlightenment. I explained the last thing that can be useful, because other people has this kind of confusion. Because of teachers like, for example, Krishnamurti, a lot of people has the idea that enlightenment can't be realized, because it's something that is already here, and you can't have the sense of it, and you can't make a sense of it. You can't live in this, because you already are living in this. This is a confusion. Of course, from the point of view of Krishnamurti or other enlightened beings that already centuries ago said things like that, for example, Bankei Yutaku, maestro of Rinzai Zen, they are talking by the point of view of somebody that already has realized enlightenment. And in the ancient teaching, even in Zen teachings, from the Huineng teachings, we know that you can't practice meditation to realize enlightenment, because it's something that you can't produce. This we already know. But if you don't involve yourself in a research of it, a conquer of it, we said that is a wrong idea, but nonetheless you have to improve your strength, you have to improve your meditation, you have to improve your life, yourself. Because of this, you, given to the enlightenment or your life, can realize it. So the statement of Krishnamurti and Bankei Yutaku in some ways are wrong. This was the idea in the same century of Akwin and Kaku, that opposite very strongly the idea of Bankei Yutaku, saying that because of it nobody in his school will be enlightened. Only he, Bankei, that was already realized it, can make a sense of this statement. And Akwin affirmed it very strongly, like quite cursing this kind of teachings because it was without results. I think that is quite true. Because Bankei, Yutaku and Krishnamurti are right, but is the methods, is the method that is lacking of real power. Because if there is not improvement, there is not the conquer, there is not the will to put all your life in enlightenment, then you will discover that you don't have to do nothing. But there is a moment, there is a path through which you can have, first of all, this glimpse, then lose the need of any glimpse. That is a path, even it is not a path. Because enlightenment is already here, enlightenment is in this moment.